good boy. Hello. Happy Valentine's Day. And Apollo's a little grumpy because I'm making him wear, oh, they're so cute though, another headband. Oh my gosh, let's have another look at this headband. And for those that are you listening and not watching, you can go on my Facebook or Instagram or YouTube channel and check out this headband. Oh my God, that's darling. Yep, so cute. He doesn't particularly like headbands, but he'll tolerate them, especially if I let him graze on the nice green grass. Consolation prize. So, last episode, I think I was talking about the beautiful, unseasonable weather, and then it snowed. But the snow melted, and we're back out here on another lovely day. Kind of chilly today, but you know, it's February, so it's to be expected. And so, what was I gonna say? Oh, so we got to sneak in a ride today in between storms. It was beautiful, and we went out with 3 other horse and rider that we had a lovely unexpected trail ride because it looked like it was going to rain this morning, and then it didn't. But I did not make Apollo wear the headband the whole way because I'm not that mean. But it's so cute. Oh my gosh. Yup. So cute. So the big news around here right now is about the pasture that Apollo's in. You can see over there, I can turn the camera enough. Where are you on the frame? Oh, there they are. Okay, so, oh, and my nose. It's obviously professional production here. Maverick is the lightly colored one, right? Where's my finger? Here we go. That's Maverick. And that is a new horse named Dancer. And over there is Rave. Over, whoop, there. So Dancer and Rave have the same owners. It's a husband-wife pair of horse owners. So Dancer is the husband's and Rave is the wife's. And they just got them, and they are super excited about being horse owners. Real nice people. And they are now pasture mates with Apollo and Maverick. However, they're not getting along. So, it's not terrible. Like, there's another horse that lives out here that just got put in a pasture with a new horse. And that horse got kicked. And got kicked pretty bad. And got hurt and had to have the vet out and stuff. So it can be a dangerous thing to put a new horse in with other horses. And luckily these guys have been pretty mellow. Like there's almost always going to be something that happens. There are exceptions. Apollo has been put in with horses he didn't know that he instantly bonded with, and they were just best friends from the get-go. But that's pretty uncommon. Normally there's a little bit of fussing and bickering, and it's really hard to film without getting tangled up in my rope at the same time. So anyway, sorry about that. But these guys, they seem to be pretty mellow right now. They're kind of focused on Apollo grazing outside on the good stuff. And so they are not getting along great. They're not getting along, I would say, terribly, but I'm not their owner. And I have maybe a little more tolerance for horse antics. And so Dancer's been here, I think, exactly 2 weeks now, and Rave's been here about 4 or 5. And Dancer getting added into the mix, they weren't really great friends with Rave to begin with, but adding Dancer into the mix has not helped matters at all. And so now there are problems. And there's in the background there you can see Jojo and Luke the boss pony hanging out next door, checking out what's going on here. So anyway, as I said, I don't think it's a super big deal. There's gonna be little nips, there's gonna be little scuffles. As long as no one's really actually getting hurt, hair grows back. But maybe I'm a little too tolerant. I don't know. Everybody has different feelings. So, you know, I'm not trying to throw shade at their owners. It's totally a personal decision. But anyway, it's a thing. And so with these new horses in the pasture, they are not comfortable with the confrontations going on. And interestingly, Dancer and Rave got along great right away. They didn't know each other before, and they instantly bonded. So it does happen, and it's real nice that their horses get along so well, since, you know, they're going to be riding together, that they were instantly bonded. But it's caused a little bit of drama, and so gosh, hope it doesn't sound like this is a gossip channel now, but whatever. Horse gossip's great. So anyway, they are trying to see if there's a solution to the dilemma of the horses not quite getting along. And so their solution that they talked about with me and with the stable owner today is to move Apollo and his buddy Maverick, because they are besties. Even they didn't get along at first very well, but they are now best friends, and Maverick is extremely possessive of Apollo. You see him hanging out at the fence back there. He has his eye on Apollo, and he already, as soon as I came up here with Apollo, moved Dancer away from the gate, because he knew Apollo was going to come through the gate, and Apollo is his friend, and he is not sharing with anybody. And so he's extremely possessive friend of Apollo, and it's kind of cute, but it's also kind of a problem. So anyway, I've never actually met Maverick's owner, so I don't know how Maverick's owner feels about all this. But anyway, Maverick's cute and jealous, so, but in a cute way, I guess. So what's gonna happen is tomorrow the stable owner is going to shuffle a couple other horses around, and Apollo and Maverick are together going to move to the next pasture over. Not the one that Jojo and Luke the boss pony are in, but a different pasture that's behind both of them, back there. And I haven't actually seen it yet, but that will be, I'm sure, the next episode. I will have to show you around the new digs and see how Apollo likes it, assuming he's still there when I record next time. If it's too much of a conundrum, then he'll get moved again. But that's the plan right now, and he's pretty easygoing, so I think it shouldn't be a big problem. And we'll see how that goes. So I will give you an update next time on Apollo and Maverick's big move. And then Dancer and Rave can have the pasture to themselves, like Maverick and Apollo had it to themselves. And you might be wondering, because I wondered at first, why don't the new guys just move? Apollo was here first, Maverick was here second, but whatever. They were both here before Rave and Dancer, but it makes sense because Apollo and Maverick are going to be moving into a pasture where there are 2 other horses, and they are more likely to get along with the other horses, and also there might be some owner dynamics. I'm just saying. But anyway, it'll be less drama for horses and people all alike if Apollo and Maverick move to be in with these other horses versus the 2 new guys moving into another pasture and still being the new guys and still having the same little scuffles that the owners aren't comfortable with. So these 2 new horses need to be by themselves together, but you know, not with any other horses, just to prevent any sort of conflict between them and other horses that their owners are not comfortable having happen. Which, again, not throwing shade at the owners, that's totally owners' right to say these things and to be not comfortable with certain things and to speak your mind and ask your horse to be moved if it's a problem where they're at. Totally cool with that. And so I hope this isn't sounding too negative. It's just the thing that's happening right now. It's just, so Apollo moved in this pasture in May when I hauled him back, or had him hauled back from New Hampshire. And it's now February, so he's been in this pasture for almost a year, 3/4 of a year. And it's been nice. I like this pasture. But it's not big enough for 4 horses. Even if they all got along, when they put the 4th horse in here, I was like, I don't know, like it's fine in the winter. Well, it's not the green grass growing season, but as soon as the grass starts to sprout up, with 4 horses in here, they're gonna eat it down before it even gets a chance to grow, and there will never be pasture for the rest of the year. It's just not big enough. It is a pretty big pasture. If you missed the pasture tour, that's I think 2 episodes ago that I did that. So go back on YouTube and you can see the whole pasture. It's pretty dang big. I don't know acreage because I'm not good at estimating that, but it's large. But for you non-Northern Californians who are watching or listening, California pastures are, California might have good, you know, good grass, good pasture, whatever, but it doesn't support the number of livestock per acre as as other parts, more wet parts of the country would have. It is too dry for that. We get nice pastures, but they are kind of sparse compared to other parts of the country. And so you cannot have as many head per acre as you would in, say, Illinois, or parts farther, you know, Midwest or Eastern states tend to be more wet, or they are more wet than California is. So you can have more horses per acre and still let them graze. But here we have to be very careful with pasture management. And even with 2 horses in this pasture, it's kind of pushing it, but it's okay. So anyway, it's going to be an interesting week for Apollo. And whoops, he just knocked his... Did you just knock your headband off? Is that better? Oh, that's rude. So hang on, I have to go retrieve his headband. Okay. If he doesn't want to wear it, I will. There we go. What do you think of that, Apollo? How do you like my headband? Is that better on me than you? Yeah. Okay. It's not working. Ah. I think it fits him better. It's not designed for horses, but it fits him better. All right, who wore it better? Definitely Apollo. Yeah, so as I said, it's going to be an interesting week for Apollo. I will introduce you to his new pasture mates next week as soon as he is moved, and I will get to meet them then too. I guess I could go over there today, but I'm not really interested. So anyway, it'll be fine. All the pastures here are real nice. So yeah, there's that. What was I going to tell you about that though? Oh, so on the subject of introducing horses, so there are of course strategies to introducing horses to each other when you need to put horses in a pasture together that don't know each other. And so for me, because Apollo's pretty laid back, he didn't used to be, by the way. He used to be a total pill. He's still kind of a pill, but he's become used to meeting new horses and sometimes being put in a pasture with new horses or a whole herd of horses overnight from our travels. So every night we'd stop at somewhere new. He would meet new horses. Usually he would meet them over the fence or over the stall wall or something. Like, he wasn't in the same pen or pasture as they were, but sometimes that wasn't possible, and sometimes he ended up in the same pasture intentionally, and sometimes he ended up in the same pasture by mistake, because the horses would open the dividing gate and then they would all be one big herd, because that was more fun. That happened a couple times. Once there was a herd of miniature horses. He loves miniature horses. Mini donkeys are his favorite, but miniature horses are his next favorite. And then the shorter the horse, the better. So ponies are better than horses when he gets along with other horses. Immediately, it's generally because they're smaller. Maverick is not smaller. He's about the same size as Apollo, and so they didn't get along at first, but now they do. So, but Luke the boss pony, where's Luke? Back there, spotted horse back there. They used to be pasture mates, and they were besties right away because Apollo loves little horses. So anyway, at this one place, they, all the minis were in one pasture, and Apollo was in the next pasture over. And there was a little barn in the center with a gate that divided the pastures in the barn. Kind of a cool little setup, actually, but hard to explain. But anyway, there was a gate dividing the horses, and this gate was inside of a barn with open sides. So the horses could go in all the way up to the gate. And one of the horses, and I don't know if it was Apollo or if it was one of the minis, they then opened the gate, and then Apollo ran over and was in with the minis. And by the time, like, I saw this happen not immediately because the gate was in the barn and I was not in the barn. So I couldn't see that they were working on opening it. Also, I don't know who did it. But I could see, or rather I heard, as soon as they all were together, there was all sorts of commotion. There was squealing and running, thundering of hooves. And my host and I looked outside and we're like, oh no, they are all together, which we were trying not to do because we didn't want anyone to get kicked or bit. And Apollo was so much bigger than the minis. Some of them could almost walk under him. That it was, like, he's so much bigger, and he's gentle with them, but they're playing, and sometimes playtime gets rough, and so we were worried he would accidentally hurt one of them. Nobody got hurt. It was fine, but it was a little bit, nerve-wracking at first while we watched them all gallop around the pasture together and kick and play and meet each other at a gallop. It was kind of fun to watch, except that it was also like, oh no, what's gonna happen? But they were fine. So, let's see. There was one time that Apollo broke his own fence and the other fence down because he wanted to go be where the other horses were, and the fence was single strand electric line that didn't discourage him in the least because he was way more interested in being with the other horses than he was with not getting shocked by the fence. So that was a bad situation. They all ran away into the forest. It wasn't really a forest. It was a forest, but it was like a small one. It was okay. Anyway, they didn't go far. We got them back. They're all, Apollo's very bribable, so just shook a can of food at him, and he's like, "Oh, food. Okay, you can catch me again." And he came right up and was fine. But that story, I could probably spend a whole episode talking about that particular incident because there was a lot more to it than that. But the point of it for this particular episode is that introducing new horses. He introduced himself. He introduced himself very, very quickly and efficiently. And he loved them very much, and there was squealing and bucking and a little bit of play kicking, but nobody got hurt. I feel like there was another time that a gate opened up that they ended up in the same pasture, but I can't remember where that was now. Anyway, typically, though, people are not comfortable introducing their horses just straight away like that. Like out here where I board, that's basically how they do it. Because there's not any other real option. If someone brings a new horse in, the owner figures out which pasture could support another horse, and that's where that horse goes. And if there's other horses in there already, then they just get thrown in and let them all sort it out. And I'm cool with that. Like, that's how I treat Apollo. So, fine with me. But some people and most other places that I've visited are not really comfortable with new horses being just thrown together, because there can be problems, like that horse here that got kicked and injured. It happens. Kicks can be pretty bad, bites can be pretty bad, but part of that is knowing your horse. If the horse that you're putting it in with, or your own horse, is especially bossy or not totally cool with, that might be aggressive in establishing pecking order, that's something as an owner and as discussing with the other owners that you should all know, and maybe that's not gonna work out so well to throw in a new horse, or maybe it will, but at least to be more cautious when that sort of thing is the case. And then Some horses are really laid back, and it's pretty much guaranteed you can just put in another horse with them and they'll be fine. Some horses are really upset about change and don't really like being moved to pastures, and some of them, like Apollo, really could care less as long as he's got something to eat and enough room to move around and ideally grass to graze on, then that's cool. So there's a lot of factors. For people who don't want to just throw a horse out with all the other horses and let nature take its course, there are ways to introduce them slowly, like over a fence, where they can meet each other before hurting each other and kind of establish who's in charge with the protection of a fence in between, or that kind of thing. Again, not something the stable's really set up to do, so not how it's done here, but it's something that I have done with Apollo out on the road. If I know that I'm going to need to put him in a pasture and it's not just him nutting himself in, then that is something I've done before, to let them introduce themselves over the fence, see how it goes. If everybody's cool and relaxed, and then they can all go in together. And if there's too much kicking and biting and squealing over the fence, you know there's going to be too much in the pasture. So anyway, this week with the big move, I have to say I wasn't really surprised, because like I said, there are 4 horses in there, including Apollo, and it's really too much for that pasture. So I figured at some point somebody was going to get moved. And since Apollo's so easygoing, I'm just enjoying that grass over there. Since Apollo is so easygoing, I figured that it would be not a bad thing for him to be the one that moves, if that was what was going to be needed to keep the herd dynamics good and pasture setups and whatever. So I'm cool with it. The only thing is, I think it's a lot further. Not a lot further, but I'm going to have to walk further from the barn to the pasture. It's fine. I need the exercise, I guess. But anyway, kind of looking forward to that, being able to show you that next week. And so, yeah, definitely. I will be recording it next week, but you won't get to see it for 2 weeks, since I am only now releasing these every other week. So don't want to confuse you there. I will record next week. You will see it in 2 weeks. And so that is something to look forward to. I don't have a calendar in front of me, but I think that might be the 28th, maybe. And so anyway, that's gonna be a thing. And so I hope you come back and listen or watch again. This is now on YouTube, as well as a streamed podcast on all the places podcasts are streamed. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc., etc. So wherever you like to listen to podcasts, or if you prefer YouTube, check it out. And you can always subscribe and check out my website, centaurride.org, CENTAURIDE.org. That is in the description below for any other updates and whatever. So I hope you've enjoyed, and come back in 2 weeks and see his new digs. So happy Valentine's Day. Bye-bye.